Hi, my name is Judd Lienhard. I'm a human performance coach, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. I've trained athletes of all ages, and I've developed a system of movements, which I refer to as the flows, that help prepare you for your training session in a very time-efficient and effective way that will also enhance your athleticism. I've designed these flows to be used as a preparatory movement for my training. They're a fairly safe movement, and they don't have to be at the beginning of your training. You can implement them pretty much as you see fit, and they will still have value in your training program. So I'm going to go over exactly how to attach the band to the cable stack. For these particular flows though, you're going to want the cable stack about waist height. It doesn't have to be perfect. There can be a little variation, but it's going to want to be about your waist height. You want to take a cable handle that's made of soft rubber just to make sure it doesn't tear the band. If it's metal, it'll probably be all right, but you don't want to take any chances. So there's two main ways to attach the band. The first way is to just have the band directly balanced about equidistant over the handle. That is usually done when you need to double the band over in case you don't have a band that's thick enough, or if it's a flow where you need to have your hands separate for whatever reason. For this flow, which I'm going to call the Reaper, you want a fairly thin band. So the band that I like to use is about 1 inch wide, but that's going to vary on the person and how strong they are. If you don't feel like you're particularly strong, you might want to go with about 1/2 inch, but I'm going to go with about 1 inch. This is what I prefer. So we're going to attach the band the second way, which is looping the band over on itself as such and securing it to the handle like such. Like I said, you're going to use a very light band for this flow, and you're going to start the movement out like we do a lot of the other flows. You're going to take your hand, you're going to put it through the band so to help support it with the wrist, and then you're going to grab a hold of the band itself. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put this hand nice and wide. It doesn't have to be as exact as some of the other flows, but nice and wide, but still close enough where you can feel like you can get some movement and a good stretch. And you're going to find out why in a second. So after you establish your good hold, you're going to back away from the stack, and you're actually going to lift the weight off of the cable stack. Then you're going to assume a very athletic, wide stance. And once again, your heel is unplanted here. You're going to knife edge the inside edge of that foot into the ground. You're going to come here, and a commonality with these flows is as you move, you're going to actively drive down into the ground to activate your core. So once you have that grip established, you're going to let it go. As long as you know your hand placement on the band, you're going to let it stretch you this way. And as you come this way, you're going to drive that hand down into the ground from a strong position. And once you start to lose strength, you're going to help with this hand, keeping both arms straight, keeping tension on the band between the hands. You're going to pull with this, assist with this until both arms are parallel to the ground, your back is flat, and your torso is turned in the direction of that knee. Now, on the way down, because you're stronger than the eccentric, you're not going to help as much with this hand. You're going to do primarily the upper hand. Use that to get a good eccentric. That's going to get your rear delt tricep going. And you're going to ride it down, pushing towards the ground as you go, back in the direction you came from until you get a nice stretch in your rear delt. Then you're just going to repeat the movement, driving down, keeping your arms straight. When you start to lose that leverage and strength right here, you're going to fluidly assist with the other hand. Lift until your back is flat and your arms are parallel to the ground and to each other. So it doesn't have to be crazy fast. I want it slow and controlled, but nice and fluid. I get asked all the time, can I do these movements without a cable stack? And you can. A lot of these you can use with just the band itself wrapped around a stationary and secure pole or whatever you have at hand. It's not wrong. You want to make sure that the band is thick enough it won't snap. But what's ideal is if you use the elastic properties of 2 different thicknesses of bands in order to accommodate the movement. And I'm going to demonstrate that here. So a lot of gyms have these power racks here that you can attach to. And simply you pick a very thick band here and you loop it securely. So I know this is secure because these things will not let this band slip off no matter what. You want to make sure that no matter how hard you pull, that band's not going to come off, obviously. Then once that is attached to the cable, to the racks right here, I'm going to take the thinner band, the one I'm going to use that has the elastic principles that I'm looking for, and I'm going to just loop it around itself just as I would the handle on a cable stack. So what happens when I do that, when this band would normally reach its extent of my strength and its elastic capability, that other band, which is slightly thicker and has a higher resistance, is going to allow me just a little bit more range of motion so I can finish the movement safely. So if you don't have that rack that I spoke about previously, you can still use any kind of anchor point that's available to you as long as the edges aren't sharp, because you don't want to risk sharp edges because it might tear the band. So see, I have a nice rounded handle right here that I can use that's not going to tear the band. So this isn't ideal, but if you only have one band, just because it's not ideal doesn't mean it's not still very effective. You can loop it over itself just like we do with the handle. The only thing is it won't be as smooth of a transition in the resistance curve. It'll kind of get really hard really fast, which still has value to it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to back up. We're going to get a lot of tension here, and then it's just going to be a little bit more tension than you're used to here, and a little bit less tension than you would get from a cable stack or an additional band there. Doesn't mean it's ineffective though. It's better if you, once again, you have two bands to use of different thicknesses like I demonstrated prior. So we're going to unhook this real quick. Now, with the two bands, there's also two options. What you can do if you want a longer resistance curve and you have a thicker band is you can just loop the thicker band over itself, just like so. And then you can take this band and you can loop it over itself, just like so. So you have two bands in succession with different elastic qualities that'll give you that nice, smooth, forced transition. Now, if this band isn't quite as thick as you want it, what you can do here, let's say I have a thinner band, you can take this band and you can just double it over here, and then when you loop this band around itself here, this band is tugging on both sides of that thicker elastic band, and it effectively doubles the resistance of that one band you have. So let's say you have two bands that are identical thicknesses. You can take this band, loop it around, loop the other band through that. This band will effectively be doubled in its resistance. The other band won't, and you'll get that nice, smooth resistance curve that we're looking for. Not all of my flow movements involve bands. There's a few that, for the reasons I'm about to cover, the better option, in this case really the only option, is a strap. Now, not everybody has access to a strap. Not every gym has a strap. But the thing is with straps is you can buy them at Home Depot or other hardware stores, and they're fairly cheap. And with a strap, you can do a lot more than just this one flow movement. It's a very versatile and portable piece of equipment. I highly encourage you to buy a nice, well-made strap. So this strap is made for exercise, and it came with its own ring, which is very convenient. I can just put it right on the hook at the gym. Some of the straps you're gonna find at the hardware stores, they're not gonna have a ring because they're not made for this stuff. It's no big deal. All you do is you keep the handle attached to the cable stack, and very similar to the bands, we just loop the strap around itself, and it serves the exact same purpose. So I named this movement the wrestler because it simulates a throw in wrestling, and it's more of a dynamic throwing type movement. And there's a reason why I would like you to incorporate these in your movements. There's also a reason why I want you to use a strap and not a band, because the transition from the pull to moving the load is much quicker, and so you can take advantage of that eccentric overload on the way back and use it more by dynamic power prepping type movement. So the best way to do this is to actually loop this over your body like such. So it's going to go over your far shoulder here and under your near armpit so it stays off your neck. Then you're going to grab the strap with both hands like such. One overhand here, one overhand here, and you're going to step away. Now, most of the weight of the weight stack is going to be supported by your back here and not your hands. That's the sensation you want to feel. Like your back is the one doing the work, not your hands, not your grip. Then you're going to sink down here, and you're going to start the pull similar to the other flows with a very explosive movement through your hips and your core, rotating your knees to generate torque. And then you're going to finish after you generate that motion with a hard pull this way. Now, this is a very important piece of the movement. On the way back, you're going to have a very fast dynamic motion so that it creates a eccentric overload that you're going to have to stop really quickly and sink your center of mass down to stop. So at full speed, it's going to look a little bit like this. You're going to take it, throw it, and then catch it. So your hands are doing very little of the work. It's really just controlling the angle of the band. It's mostly your back. And it looks like it's on my neck, but most of the weight is being supported by my lat right here. That's why it's very important you don't have the strap going the other way, because then your neck will have to support most of it. Like I said, a big benefit of this is the very fast eccentric that you have to drop really quickly in order to stop. So as with all of my flow movements, you do both sides with this, not just one side. If you're interested in incorporating these methods that I just showed you into your current training program, or if you want to find out more about my training method in general, you can find me on Instagram under Judd Lienhard, or go to my website, juddlienhard.com, and fill out the information, and we'll send you more information on these training methods. Also, if you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave those in the comment section, and I'll be sure to respond to those. Thank you.